Hello, this is Diljot Nagra, a student at Rio Salado University. I reviewed and read The Green Arrow Year 1, the first issue out of 4 issues. It was written by Andy Diggle, as well the art was done by a team called Jock. Oliver Queen is a playboy and a thrill-seeker. After another drunk party, he dedicated himself to embark on a sea voyage, only to be betrayed by his only friend and trusted bodyguard, Hackett. He then found himself marooned on a desert jungle island. Oliver, surviving his new, unforgiving environment with nothing more than a makeshift bow, arrows, gradually realizing that he is a natural-born bowman. Being stranded on the island for months taught him to treasure the simple things he had squandered, and for the first time in his life felt really happy. Things took for a turn for the worse when he learned that the island was not deserted as he thought. A woman who they called China White had enslaved on the island's inhabitants and forced to grow opium and manufacture heroin. After the tussle with Hatchet, who turned him out to her business associate, Oliver was seriously wounded. Titania was one of the first natives on the island, saved him from certain death. Her selfless acts kindness opens Oliver's eyes to the guilt that he has been carrying on his entire life, the guilt of stepping over underprivileges on his way to the top. To repay his own debt, he made his life calling to fight for the rights of the downtrodden. He then freed the slaves by taking down China's Whites organization, only with Howard Hill's bow and a dozen of arrows. As you can see, the reviews for this comic book was almost perfect, getting a 4.4 out of 5 stars on Amazon. As I went through the reviews, I saw that everyone was mostly pleased of this comic and that it had an excellent retake on Ollie's origin. Almost everybody just loved this comic. Some also disagreed, saying that it was not worthy of Year 1 compared to Frank Miller's Year 1 Batman, but I believe it was still a good read. Maybe not as good as Year 1 Batman, but it's still much better than some other reads. One part of the hero's journey that was in this issue was the ordinary world. In the beginning of this issue, it shows Ollie in the regular world life as a rich playboy. The hero in this journey was not a person, but more was Oliver Queen. As we see here, he's so drunk that he says some things that he shouldn't said, like the only reason he was buying the expensive bowl was tax deductiments, and this obviously shocked everyone. By doing that, he was so drunk and so disappointed that he decided to set voyage, making himself the herald for this journey. In this journey, we did not actually get to meet the mentor, but right here, the person who taught Ollie to shoot bow and arrows was Newell Howard Hill, the original mentor for the Green Arrow. Right here is where we meet the Shapeshifter, the once best friend of Oliver Queen, turning his back on his friend and trying to steal all his money. Ollie is so confused why his friend would just suddenly change sides like this. Now we see Ollie drifting out to sea, eventually going to land at the island. Another mentor for Ollie was the island itself. As we see, right, the island itself was the mentor or the helper of Ali. As we see him making a bow and arrow, fishing, doing it successfully, creating a fire. After months of training on the island, Ali meets his Threshold Guardians, these two men who are in the plane. He defeats these men with his awesome bow and archery skills, shooting a flying airplane and a man right in the shoulder so that he cannot stop shooting, which was very impressive. Here is where we meet the Shadow, China White. We also get to see the shapeshifter again, Hatchet, who is working for China White. Now Ali has a new challenge to exact revenge on Hatchet. Here is where the Abyss and Death and Rebirth happen. Ali thinks he's good enough to take on Hatchet by just using a bow and arrow that he made himself. This is where Ali gets shot down, and a huge explosion happens, and both of them reach an almost death-like state. Green Arrow's Year 1 hero's journey was a little bit different than the hero's journey described. The hero's journey, usually the threshold happens in the first, then the mentor or / helper comes and helps, but in this case, the Green Arrow was mentored by the island, and as a little kid he was mentored by Jim Harold, and the threshold happened after he became fully trained. But other than that, the follows the hero's journey pretty well. Sadly, the only issues I read only got up to the Abyss and Death and Rebirth part of the hero's journey. I did not get to see the whole hero's journey, or at least talk about the whole hero's journey in this little podcast. But it was very exciting to see how many good stories that are written by the hero's journey, and how there's a call to adventure, and there's always challenges, temptations, and then adornment, and then they return back to, his achieve happiness. And the Green Arrow also follows the hero's journey, even though not in the exact same order per se, but pretty much close. And that was all.